Reagan economics advisor Art Laffer. Art, good morning to you.
Good morning, Sandra. How are you? Boy, wasn't that Doris Day song? I just loved it.
She will be missed, and we'll all remember her this morning. Art, thanks for joining us. I mean, you're looking at the markets here, and the futures give us an idea, as they always do, of where markets will open. Right now, a big sell-off, 2% loss on the Dow expected on the open. The markets are nervous about what they're seeing here. Should they be?
Sure, of course they should be. I mean, there's never a fun time to have conflict with another country, especially over tariffs and trade and all that. And markets tell us what will be, not what has been. And of course, the markets are very nervous. This is a very serious issue. Trade with China, tariffs, quotas, all of that stuff is very serious. And, you know, it doesn't look like we have a solution in hand right now. But so markets are jittery, and they should be. But
address sort of the conflicting response from the president about what this will cost the American consumer, and what we heard from Larry Kudlow yesterday, that both sides will pay.
You know, let me be serious, Sandra, if I can. The reason the president is doing that is because of the enormous benefits freer trade will have for America. Those enormous benefits would push the stock market up 5,000, 6,000 points if we could get a truly free trade agreement with China. Now, how do you bring the Chinese to the table to negotiate a truly free trade agreement? They're much more protectionist than we are. They steal intellectual property. We all know that, and they know that. How do you bring them to the table to get the right deal? And what the president believes, and he may well be right, there's no reason for me to doubt him on this, that if you bring him to the table and negotiate a free trade agreement, this country and China will be rocketed to the moon with prosperity, and we need to get free trade. Now, this is the strategy the president is following, and he is the CEO, he's the president, and I don't want to second guess him because I don't know how to second guess him. He's a darn good CEO, and he's been a great president so far in economics, and I just love it. And Larry Kudlow is exactly right. We will suffer from the short-term damage done by these trade barriers, but they will too. Will that bring them to the table? Goodness gracious, I hope it does, and I hope they agree to negotiate what should be free trade, and they know what's free trade.
I'm hearing a lot of optimism from you, Art, and I know all along the way you have been cheering on the president to fight this fight. You've been making the case, much like Larry Kudlow, that this is worthwhile for the United States.
It's enormously worthwhile. A free trade agreement with China, with Japan, with Europe. I mean, when President left the G7 in Ottawa, and he said, you know, we're willing to get rid of all trade barriers, tariffs, and non-tariff barriers, if you guys will. And they all looked at him and whistled in the air and said, que sera, sera.
Well, you know, very nice tie in there. You know, it's amazing to see the president and his words this morning. He's been tweeting a lot this morning. Here's one of them. The unexpectedly good first quarter 3.2% GDP was greatly helped by tariffs from China. Some people just don't get it. You know, in the wake of that monstrous GDP number and the big drop in unemployment rate and the added jobs that we recently saw, some who don't usually give the president credit for the growth in the economy, we're giving him credit there. Here's the president saying, you're not giving me enough credit for what this has already done to the United States. So I just heard a 5,000 to 6,000 point forecast, a gain in the Dow, Art, from you, if this deal gets
free
done.
Trade, it'll be it.
So will it get done?
Well, you know, I have to trust in the president totally. I don't have all the information. I don't have all the knowledge. Mnuchin and Kudlow and Lighthizer are just great on advisors, and the president is one of the best decision makers I've ever seen on economics. Look what he did with the tax bill. Look what he's done with regulations. Look what he's done with this economy. They all said it couldn't be done, and Trump has done it.
Well,
now, can he do it again?
Well, there we go. The market is opened, and as predicted, a big sell-off on the open. This is about a 1.7% loss, 446 points. The Dow is falling on the open here. Actually, that's not as bad as the futures were predicting, but still, people are going to talk about this being a big sell-off. We'll see where the news goes today. Art Laffer, thank you. Bill
Thank you very much, Sandra. And say hello to Bill for me, would you please?
Hey, Art, what's happening, buddy?
Right here.
Yeah, I'm just saying,
good to hear your voice, Bill.
Art, that's what this is.
Wasn't she just wonderful? I love that. I mean, just the best song ever.
Thank you, Art. Very nicely done.
Bill,
thank you, guys.
I go back to the loss that we saw last week because you've been covering, you were covering it last week, the back and forth here, and You know, Friday was a good day. There was optimism then. That went away. Now the retaliation from China. Where this all goes next, Art Laffer seems pretty optimistic. We'll see.
Trend all week last week in the morning session. We were down. We bounced back in the afternoon. Seemed to be a bit of a pattern, so we'll see if that's the case today. 450 to the negative side. Meanwhile, we talked about this. Democratic Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib making some waves, what Republicans call more anti-Semitic remarks. We'll tell you what she said, and we'll get the Democratic side in a moment. Coming up here.
Plus,
to be precise, we're down 511, 512. We're at 25,426. How about Uber? Went public on Friday at 45. It sank on Friday, and it's sinking again this Monday morning, down $3 at 38. That's Uber. I want to bring in Reagan economist, former Reagan economist, Art Laffer. Art is with us this Monday morning. Can you quantify the pain to the American economy from this latest round of tariffs?
I think I can. I mean, the way I look at the tariffs, the way I look at all of the process going on, Stuart, is that it's a bimodal outcome. 2 years from now, which is the key time to look at, we're in the midst of a negotiation, and no one knows how it's going to come out. No one can be sure. I mean, it's the future. That is, 2 years from now, if President Trump is still president, I think this will have been solved very much to the benefit of the United States and China. Both countries will benefit, and the markets will be way up from where they are today. If, on the other hand, it doesn't work out, if you get a Democrat in there with the policies they're espousing now, 2 years from now, you're going to see a market that's way down from here and with a very big global risk coming on. So this is Trump's negotiation. He's a negotiator. I think he's doing a good job on economics all over. I can't second guess him on negotiations, Stuart. I can't, because I'm not a good negotiator, and he is. But I am very optimistic, to be honest with you, that it's going to work out really well, and that 2 years from now, we're going to have a sparkling economy with a lot freer trade from China. Well, my view of the world.
Okay, understood. Now, that's 2 years down the road. That's the very long-term view. Take a slightly shorter view. How about 6 months down the road? We've already got 25% tariffs on $200 billion worth of Chinese products. How about another 25% tariff on $300 billion worth of Chinese products? That's entirely possible. So 6 months down the road, if that happens, surely there'll be real pain for the American economy, won't there?
Yeah, of course. Tariffs are not a good solution for anyone. Tariffs hurt us and they hurt foreigners. So it's a bad all the way around. But how do you bring the Chinese to negotiate, Stuart? I mean, the key here is that the Trump has made clear time and time again he wants free trade. He's very clear he wants it. He's made it clear all the way along. But the only way he can bring them to the table to negotiate is to have threatened their one thing they care about, our U.S. exports to the U.S. And that's what he's doing. He's doing the negotiations right now. And I think from all I've heard, Xi is a very intelligent man as well, and clearly focuses on Chinese prosperity. And the two of them have enormous room for a major negotiation to provide prosperity to both countries. And I can't see it not working out, to be honest with you. I just can't see it. This is not going to turn into 1930s. It's just not.
What about the Federal Reserve? If we slow down a little bit because of these tariffs and the fight with China, is it possible that the Fed would lower interest rates?
It is possible. It is possible. The question on lowering interest rates really has to do with the strength of the dollar. The stronger the dollar is, the lower inflation in the U.S. is, the more likely it is that the Fed will lower interest rates. The Fed follows interest rates. It doesn't lead. And with the strength of the dollar that's been here and the fall in interest rates that's occurred, I'm surprised the Fed isn't seriously considering lowering interest rates right now.
Okay, so
that's what they should do, follow rates.
So you are convinced that this is not a break in the market rally. We've had a wonderful rally since the president was elected and this year, and this is not a break from that.
We've seen this happen twice before with exactly the same type of kerfluffle in the market, Stuart. I think it's a third time. I think it's all part of the negotiation strategy. And anyone who's invested in the markets is scared. I mean, we all are scared. You know, markets tell us what will be. And when you aren't certain of the future, obviously you're going to sell off a little bit. And that's just what happened. But when you're the negotiator, you know what your positions are and you're making good decisions. And, you know, Trump is a professional negotiator and he really cares about American prosperity. He owned an international business. He knows that free trade is the answer for all of this stuff. and he's just trying to get there. And, you know, when you go across bumps, et cetera, it's difficult. But he's doing a good job. He's done a great job on the tax bill, regulations. He's done a great job in the economy. And Larry Kudlow is the best advisor a president could ever have.
Okay.
And there you sit. And I am optimistic, but I knew these types of periods would come and have come, but I don't think 2 years from now you're going to be disappointed. I think you're going to be really excited.
I'm glad we heard from you on a Monday morning like this. Art Laffer, thank you very much indeed, sir.
Thank you, Stuart.
The market.